Hey everybody, this is Devil Dog underscore 88. Let's get it. Let's have that conversation. It's not like a whole lot of people are having any conversations right now. Getting my wallet out. All right, everybody. Let's have that conversation, everybody. What's going on? Oh, where is my glasses? Huh. Oh, that's not good. Cannot find my glasses. Oh, man. Cannot find my glasses. What's going on, everybody? Let's make it happen. Let's have that conversation. Oh, this is going to be a rough one because I cannot find my glasses, everybody. So, being that there's not a whole lot out there and there's not a whole lot of going on, let's talk about any of the cases we've talked about before. Anyone you want to talk about, let's make it happen. Let's see here. What's going on, Mary? Mary's in the house. Give me 1 second. What's going on, everybody? All right, well, here's the deal, everybody. Let's talk. Where is Nancy Guthrie? Where is Nancy Guthrie, everybody? She was definitely taken. She was definitely been missing for about 84 days, 85 days, it seems like. Too damn long. Hello, Marianne. Good to have you. Bring me my glasses, please. Alrighty. Let's get it. Let's get it, everybody. I know that it's going quite quiet now. There's not a whole lot of people talking about Nancy, and that's probably because there's not a whole lot of new information. We're not gonna let this just fade away, everybody. We're gonna have that conversation. What say you? Anybody? Let's have that talk. So Nancy Guthrie, we know who are some major players in this whole thing. We just don't know the little parts that make all the difference in the world. Marianne, there is no news, nothing, crickets, quiet. Everything is silent. You know, it's like you can't make this up if it wasn't so bad. I mean, this is downright too damn quiet, and it's not a good thing. From everything I have read and everything that I have been looking at, everybody is only thinking of the worst because that's all there is left. I need the glasses. Check if mine are out there. All right. Now I can see. That was pretty bad. So there's not a whole lot out there, but there is stuff that we could talk about. We could talk about anything out there. Anything on what's going on. Do you think anybody else is behind this? Or do you think it's the people that we think it is? That we think it's the good prospects, persons of interest? What say you? I haven't even heard anything about LD. I haven't heard anything. I mean, nothing. It's almost like everybody is being very cautious in what they say, in where they go. You know, these people have to be doing something out there as far as, going out to places, the people who involve, there has to be a lot of little chatter behind the scenes. And yet, right now, it's like everybody is walking on eggshells. No one wants to be the person that literally breaks this thing wide open. I strongly believe it's someone we have been talking about. No doubt about it, Marianne. No doubt about it. It's definitely going to be. We've already covered that person. There's no doubt in my mind. Or some other streamers has already covered the person. No doubt. And that's the thing. These people, they're like narcissists. They will come back. Mary says, who? Oh, you got LD. Literally, you got the double pack guy that was trying to get over the fence and claiming that it was his house when it wasn't. You have TC. You have the Gothic people. You have the two Gothic people. Why were they there out of place taking a photo shoot? Literally. With their ass hanging out. Kiki and whatnot. What's up with that? We don't even know if they've talked to anybody. Yeah, Mary, that was very weird. Talk about disrespectful. You got so many things happening right now that we had to have covered everybody. There's no doubt in my mind. Then you got literally Mr. Gentleman who just came out recently, Richard Nolat Jr. What is his story? What is his game? Are we looking at possibly someone who is literally out there committing a lot of unalives? What is it? Who is it? Richard Nolet. Is he for real? Is that guy someone that, for whatever reasons, law enforcement needs to talk to? They need to get involved talking to this individual. Maybe there's a lot more. Maybe it's not Nancy. Maybe it's somebody else. JTB says, mark your calendars. June 24th, suspect has court in Tucson. His mom bailed him out from Los Angeles jail. His name is Derek. You're talking about Derek Kalela. I've been hearing a lot about Derek Kalela. Been hearing a lot about his involvement or his known people he hung around with, people that he knew. I mean, there is so much there. Jameson says hi, is in the house. Good to have you. So there's a lot of issues going on here. We've covered this potential people of interest, no doubt about it. That's a fact. It's been covered. What hasn't been covered is the little details that can make the difference. What is it? What are we missing? What is happening? Did they check the lake out? Do we know what's going on there? I mean, sometimes I feel like I got to get up and just go to freaking Arizona myself. That's what I feel sometimes. Marianne, I think he was the Bitcoin person. Yes, he was. Derek Kalela. So what are we talking about today? Nancy Guthrie, the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie. Mary, it's so annoying. What on Nancy's case? The Kalela guy, the one from Cali that tried to get the Bitcoin. That is correct. Sent T and A direct message asking them if they had the half a Bitcoin to make the transition, remember? Sherry, no new news, nothing, silent crickets. Ursula Falls, hey everyone. Mary, I mean, to me, Richard is it. He sure has everything, a lot of things point that he could be the person of interest. Sarah Hudak, not sure what to think about no lead, seems too random. Too random for the last few decades, according to him. They've been doing this for a long time, according to him. His family seems too random to have all of the strange knowledge of ciphering and his weird family. No doubt. No doubt, Sarah. No doubt. See, that's the thing. Have they checked on him? Have anybody talked to him? You know? I mean, it's not an easy trip just to go from here, from Ohio, all the way to Arizona. Come on now. These people need to step up. With your LE experience, why do you think this case is so bizarre? Jenny, because there was not a whole lot of information given. Because there was not a whole lot of information given, or any information, people started speculating, and it was like a snowball going down a big damn hill, and it just kept getting traction and traction. So now anybody who throws something out there, it's worth a look at. Why? Because there's nothing else to go on. You know what I mean? Nothing else to go on. Mary says 100%. Sarah says, I agree. Mary says, we will never know. No, it's going to come out. Make no mistake, this case will get solved. It may not be when we want it to get solved. It may not be when it should get solved, but it is going to get solved. Marianne, as far as I know, they're not talking to no let seriously. Soaring Energy, it doesn't seem like they are looking at anything. I agree with that on both last comments. You know, I wouldn't mind going to Arizona, but here's the thing. What are you going to do? You're going to go look at the washes? What are you going to do? You're going to go lift up every pebble and rock? What are you going to do? You're an outsider coming in. What are you going to do? You're going to talk to neighbors? They don't want you there. You try to talk to the Pima County Sheriff's Office? They don't even want to hear it because they're not handling it. So then it becomes, what do you do? If you are an outsider coming in to try to help the situation or try to help find where is and what happened to Nancy Guthrie, what are you going to do? Going to sit outside in the front door of her house? Sit outside across the street? What are you going to do? Twiddle your thumbs? Twiddle your fingers? What is there to do? Sarah, behind the scene, they must have more footage. What do you think? Oh, there's no doubt in my mind, Sarah. They have footage. They have footage. You know why I know that? Because they went ahead and got it from Google when Google went through the back door and got the footage that they already had. That they were able to pull from her cameras. Okay, from Nancy's cameras. That's how they got the perp that was standing in front of her door. That's how they got the other individual that was close to her door. Jameson says, hello, everyone. You know what I'm saying? The idea, literally, is that there is and has to be more information than what they're showing us. Jameson says, how is everybody doing? It just doesn't make any sense, everybody. Why wouldn't they go and check the lake? I'm Murma, says hi all. I just feel like there's been too many crickets that we've been hearing and nothing has been happening. Marianne says hello, Jameson. It just doesn't make any sense, everybody. Sarah, yes, we can get a little more to see something. Next, what would be the holdup? You know, if they would just literally have literally have cleared people the right way and eliminated people, then we would only be looking at about this many people. Right now, we're looking at this many people. And believe me, when you are investigating and you are doing checks and you are watching everything, that's a lot. You need to bring it in. You need to close and narrow the search in between this amount of people, not like this. It's pretty ironic that RN says she is in a lake that it's against the law to go into, right? Right? Almost like he's drawing you in, knowing very damn well you can't just go in there and go down in the water and search yourself, right? Because he knows you can't. Almost like he knows that. That's why he said that. But then again, the specifics that he gave were pretty damaging, no doubt about it. BG says they have ostracized everyone. The oldest thing I have ever seen. The oddest thing I've ever seen, no doubt about it. Well said, BG. Marianne, they are scared what they will find in that lake. That's no doubt. That has crossed my mind so many times. Mary says, yep. See, you have to eliminate people from the equation. You have to eliminate them. Get them out of the way. They're just noise. Okay? And to do that, it is easy. It's not hard. With TC, you just say, hey, we saw him in the videos. We're not going to show you the videos for our reasons that we have. But we saw him in the videos. He was there. He dropped her off. He left. Case closed. He's done. She's out of the way. Now you go to the next one. Did you get a chance to see the footage of the guy walking his dog? I did, Soaring Energy. Out in front of Nancy's house. Do you think that looks like Richard? The older version of Richard? Yes. The one that SI claims to have seen at the bottom of the hill? Yes. I know that pictures and videos can be deceiving sometimes. Someone can look a little taller. Someone can look a little smaller. Someone can look a little heavier, bigger. But do I think that looks like the guy? Yes. But here's the key. SI, who saw him direct down the hill, SI, who saw him once he was checking the lake, got done, and he saw him, he says that is almost a split image. I mean, who better than someone who saw him up and close, right? Oso Fall says, Righteous Monkey got an email from Pima County Detective. Do we know what that was about by any chance? Falls, do we know what that was? What was that about? Marianne, I believe Richard is the one walking his dog. It very well could be. And he does look like he fits that person. He looks like that person. SI, who's seen him up close, says it looks like almost literally a split image. So I don't know what more do we go on other than going what people have seen him up close. You know what I mean? Kim says, hello all. I think R had a fascination with the Zodiac, in my opinion. No doubt. I'm not going to even begin to think that he is or was the person that was raised by the Zodiac. We haven't even been able to dig deep into that, right? I mean, honestly, who has been able to dig deep into whether the Zodiac killer was the one who raised this man? Has anybody had time to really search that? Because I know I sure as hell have time. Hell, we can't even get the basic on everybody else. KC says, wow, definitely is, says Mary. Jameson, so is Oklahoma under a tornado watch? I have no idea. I think so. KC, wow. Mary, his clothes match. Same type of jacket, same type of trousers, same type of shoes. Did you guys see the shoes comparison? That I think it was I think it was Monk Intrigue. He did the comparison of the shoes. Looks identical. The shoes. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but I believe it was Monk Intrigue who did the comparison on the shoes. When he called the investigator back, it was about him doing one of his searches, and apparently he had trespassed on the property owners, sent his picture in. Oh, wow. A guy goes out there looking for Nancy, steps over the line and steps on someone's property. They're going to call, and the cops are then going to respond with a follow-up to let him know people have saw him on their property. And I take it wasn't, they didn't want him there, so therefore we're going to make sure we get that call in and get a hold of this guy. Wow. How about telling us what really everyone knows about where is Nancy, or the information that they have? Unbelievable. Mary, like, why would he wear same clothes, walking his dog, same clothes he wore that night? I mean, if it's not the same, it's pretty damn identical, is it not? Fall says he said the investigator was really nice and knew the streamers are out searching. Just be careful not. Oh, that's nice. Then, you know what? Then I take back my harsh criticism there, because maybe he was just trying to let him know, hey, just be careful. Kudos to that officer. Thank you. CR, I'm in Oklahoma, just drizzling right now. Got you. I'm Myrma. I agree. He totally looks like him. I mean, once again, we know that SI saw him up close, and he says he's almost a split image. So, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Marianne, yes, I did see the shoes. CR, if there's no fence, it's hard to know property lines, right? It's not like it's not like out everywhere else where you go looking up for that little peg that they have buried in the ground that you're going to find out there in the desert, right? No doubt. Does anyone remember, says Mary, the name RN's biological dad? I think he said it was like, wasn't it like Worthington or something like that? I don't know. I don't remember the first name. I don't know if it was a David or a Mike. Worthington? Does anybody know that question for Mary? I thought it was like Worthington or Worthington, something like that. Let me know, anybody. Let us know. I think he had the same clothes because the porch video hadn't come out yet when he was walking the dog. Very well could have, no doubt. Didn't even think about that till just now you said that. That's exactly what he told them. He didn't see trespass signs. Mary, good point, Soaring. Richard Nolette Sr. No, Richard Nolette Sr., no, but his biological dad. Not the one that raised him. I think the biological dad, wasn't it the one who got unalived by the Zodiac? Wasn't that like something like Worthington or something like that? I know it was at the W. I can't think of what the hell the name was. I think R gets a thrill of boldly getting away with it. Very possible, Kim. Biological dad was Charles Hollingsworth. Thank you so much. I knew there was a W somewhere. Charles Hollingsworth. That's the name of his biological dad, as he claimed. But Richard Sr. offered him. Yes, that is true. Mary, Charles Worthington or something. Yes, yep. Falls just said it was Charles Hollingsworth. That's it, Hollingsworth. That is it. So he says Hasselback. Oh, Lord. Mary. Oh, thank you. Falls, you, Mary. Soaring Energy. I thought the name was Hasselback. No, I do now, after she had said that, it is Worthington. Charles Worthington. I'm sorry, Charles Hollingsworth. We're all so freaking confused. Oh my lord. It's like I don't even want to say it's like a comedy show. Kim, also in the interview, he said the first victim was his friend Nestor Gilland. That is correct. That is correct. You know, what's sad is that we can have this discussion and talk, and I can share with you some ways how you can go ahead and vet some of these people, and share with you how probably you could determine whether they're telling the truth or not, and exclude them from the big picture, right? To make that picture smaller. And yet, I can share that with you, but for some reason, it's not being done with people who have a hell of a lot more experience than I do, or some experience, let's just say. Kim, also the interview, he said the first victim was his friend Nestor Gillen. Mary, he was a doctor who faked his death and became the Zodiac, right? Well, his dad, his real dad, his real dad, Mary, was Hollingsworth. He was off by the Zodiac, set up by Nolette's mother. Remember, his mother set his father up to be unalived, and then got with the Zodiac. So that was basically his stepdad who raised him into that family. Mary says, right, yes. Man, so convoluted. You're not only kidding. And a friend Kelly Heine or something like that. Yes. It just goes without saying, what do we have to see? We need them to just, for God's sake, check the damn lake. Check the lake. Just check it, just to get this guy out of the damn picture. If he's lying, you won't find nothing. If he's telling the truth, which won't cost you hardly anything, guess what? If he's telling the truth, we could have a lot more answers and get to the meat of the matter a lot quicker. Fall says, no, Mary Richard Sr. was supposedly the Zodiac. His mom lured Charles in and he could be unalive. That is correct. Aid, I'm sure RN has done his research so everything match. Exactly. Who knows who this... RN could be a chameleon for all we know. Marianne, this case is so confusing. Fall said it is Mary. Mary says thanks, Ocean Falls. That's the problem, is we're not getting anything. Except frustration is building. Fall said yes. Aid says he has mental issues, but is intelligent, maybe a savant. Very well could be. Even crazy people, mental people, ill people can tell you the truth. Even psychopaths can tell you the truth when they want to. You know what I'm saying? So, how hard would it be just to go ahead and check that out? How hard would it be just to go ahead and look into that? Once again, just to give the people that you're doing something. Just to give the people the fact that their safety is in your hands and your concern. You are there to serve them. Why can't you just go Pima County or the FBI and search this lake? How hard is it to do that? My gosh. It's just so pathetic. BG, it's sad that I'm sitting here thinking of people that have movie and series lined up to make money already without the case being solved. That's the new American way. No doubt. I agree with you, BG. Mary, yes, let's all go there. I'm telling you, and that's the whole thing. If they're not listening to people that are there, that live there, people that are there supposed to be for them, right? If they're not listening to those people, how in the hell are they going to listen to people on the outside? You know what I mean? I mean, we cover this because it's a tragedy, it's a travesty on what they're doing. We cover this because it's not right, because it don't make sense. But yet, and I'm looking for the perspective of law enforcement. Make no mistake. I know things are tough sometimes. But checking some of these leads, it's not that difficult to do, people. It really isn't. You just have to have the cojones to go ahead and do it. Paul says, class field trip. No shit. Gotta do something, man, because this is just not right. Call Mark Kelly. If I had his number, I would. If I had his number, I would definitely call Mark Kelly. Direct line. Hey, what's up? What's going on here? You know, this is even goes beyond. You know how people would say, "Oh, it's easy for you to go ahead and just talk about it because you're not doing the investigation." No, I have done investigation, and no, it's not easy. But you know what? It is easy to verify when people give you specifics. That's simple to verify. Just go check the damn lake. How hard is it? Who else is buried there that they don't want anybody to find? Who else is in the bottom of that lake that they're concerned is going to cause a big ruckus? What, Jimmy Hoffa there now? Come on, everybody. Falls. It comes back to, did they already find her? You know, and I hate to go down that rabbit hole, but, you know, they did find a Nancy. They did find a person, ironically, out in the desert, 84 years old, supposedly. How coincidence does that happen? Oh, that's that word again. Must be a coincidence. Mary says, I think so. It's just crazy, everybody. It's just crazy. It's driving people nuts. It's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts because I can't make those decisions like I used to. It's driving me nuts because if I still had the opportunity to make those decisions where I worked, I would have made that a long time ago. That's a no-brainer. I totally believe that they already have her. Marianne, do you remember Richard saying his family members are friends with the LE? Yes, I do. Maybe that's why they aren't listening to Richard. Oh, God, could you imagine the Pandora box that would be opened up if there was more bodies down there? Think about that for a minute. Fall says, what the hell would a 84-year-old woman be out in the desert? It makes no sense. It's like they want you to believe that maybe that wasn't her. Well, it was just another person that looked like her, that had the same name as her, that had the same age as her, and she just happened to be out there in the desert. Unbelievable, everybody. Next they'll tell you it was just a coincidence, everybody. Click that like, everybody. Click that like. Do me that favor. Hit the heart button. Hit the like button. Hit the damn emoji button. Let's get that algorithm going. Pay says, I agree with Mary. It just makes no sense, everybody. It really makes no sense. You know, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And yet, for it not making sense, it seems like I have been able to myself bring up ways of verifying some of this stuff. So why is it not being verified, or had they verified it? Or, like one of y'all said, maybe they already have her. Maybe she was that lady, the other lady in the desert. For God only knows what reason she was out there in the desert with the same age. I mean, it's just ludicrous for them to try to get people to like insult your intelligence. You know what I mean? I mean, it would explain a lot if they just said, "We found Nancy." For sure. For sure. The day of or whatever. No doubt. Falls. We all have and we all are armchair detectives. We are. We are. And you know what? I think deep down inside, Nancy would be grateful and thankful for what everybody is doing to try to figure out what happened to her. Who did what? She would be, she's, if she is in heaven, she would be looking down and happy that people just didn't let it go by the wayside. Some, anyway. We are, we care. Amen. Well said. Well said, Mary Mary. It's just frustrating, everybody. Because I don't see it to be something that can't be done in more ways than one. That they can't go ahead and check a lot of things out. I just find it so distasteful. I just find it so disappointing that law enforcement could insult the intelligence of many people, especially the people who live there, right there at the foothills. Literally. Think about that for a minute. The people that live outside right there in Tucson, that they could insult their intelligence by telling them, you know, there's nothing else to give you. It is what it is. Gronsky, hello to all. I am here just getting in. Good deal, Gronsky. Good to have you. It just makes no sense to me, everybody. No sense whatsoever. It's like I feel like I'm spinning my damn wheels. Falls. If it was my mom, I'd be screaming my butt off for answers. You know, that goes without saying, Falls. I think if it was any one of our mothers that was going through this, we would definitely lose our damn mind if this is the kind of BS that they were throwing out and spewing out. No doubt. Come on out and tell us something. I mean, you talk about a botched investigation, literally. You talk about a botched investigation. You know, and I don't like to put down law enforcement. I don't like to put down people of authority because I've been there. I get it. But my gosh, you at some point you got to deliver the goods. You got to speak up for the people that can't speak for themselves right now. Nancy can't speak right now for the better of herself. She can't speak on her behalf. So she's got to count on people who really care about the case, who really care about her, who really just want to see justice done. You know, it's them. It's them that are asking law enforcement, do your job, please. Check the lake. That's one less person that we would talk about. Check the lake. Literally. Go ahead. Check the Gothic people. You know, Kiki and her boyfriend. Check LD. You know, find out all those things that we are not privy to see. Check all those and let's see if we can eliminate him. But just silence is the worst thing that they could do to the American people, no doubt, and to the family for that matter. BG, if I had 40 million, I'd hire my own forensic team, no doubt. If I was wealthy like a lot of these billionaires, you can bet I would be doing something. I would be sending my own people out there volunteering and having them go ahead and do the follow-ups, as they say. I still can't believe the first two cops that showed up missed the blood on the porch and walked right through it. They were young. That happens when you're young and inexperienced, no doubt. No doubt. Hey, they just want us to forget and move on. Gronsky, I did a deep dive into the Big Sur matter and understand it much better now. Awesome, Gronsky. Awesome. Did you find anything interesting? Did you find anything interesting out there at the Big Sur, in the Big Sur area? Any new news? Any updates? I know I've been following it. I'm just waiting to hear some updates as to some of the answers that they're looking for. There's another one. The Big Sur rabbit hole, says Paige. No doubt. No doubt. I mean, it's just sad. It's just sad because like you said earlier, everybody, an 84-year-old woman is taken from her bed, apparently. If she made it back to her house that night, she is taken. And there's no answers. And according to some experts in the media, there is no suspect. They have no suspect. That's pretty scary. Falls said, I'll be back. All right, Falls, we'll be here. It just makes no sense, everybody. It makes no sense. So anything, Gronsky, anything new that you found on the Big Sur area with Johanna, Ruth Shields? Any new info? I've been waiting for some of these cases to open up, as far as even the one in Columbus, Ohio, waiting for that to when we're going to hear when a court date is at. I think that's probably going to not happen till what? June, maybe? June, July, somewhere in there. Gronsky, I got to check. Soaring Energy, the last couple of nights or two or three different shows, people were talking about a report that came out about Nancy's heartbeat, raising, lowering, raising again, all during the time she got home. And that's very probable. That's very probable. I mean, it could have been doing that because there was so much emotion going through her because of what was happening. Very possible. No doubt about it. Those numbers on those things are not going to lie. They're going to tell you that something's either happening or something didn't happen. You know what I mean? But I had never heard of the report before last night, and I don't know where these people were getting this information. Did you hear about it at all? I heard about just that one spike that happened. That is all I've ever heard, was that one spike. That's it. That one spike that everybody talked about, how it spiked up, and then that was the last time they got that big spike. That's all I've ever heard, to be honest. I heard it spike. Yes, no doubt, Paige. Gronsky, the toxicology, 6 to 8 weeks from April the 17th. Yes, that's right, Gronsky. They said it was going to be about 2 weeks before they had word back on the Big Sur area of the woman by the name of Johanna that went through this horrible ordeal and was unalive, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's just we're just looking so hard trying to make sense of everything, and nothing is making sense. Soaring Energy says, well, the way the story was quoted back was once she got in the house from being dropped off. Her heart elevated and went down several times. Then the last time at 1:47, it never came down. Very interesting, no doubt. If that's true, people were in there when she got home. Or I guess she could have been having a phone conversation too. Very probable. But you think they would have found that in the phone records at that time of night, right? You'd think they would have found phone records saying that there was calls either made or incoming calls that were made at that approximate time frame. I mean, it just begs to ask, did they really do a good job or not? You know what I mean? Soren says, correct. You think you have to ask that. And like I said, I don't like, getting on to law enforcement because I know what it's like when you're trying to solve cases and you're trying to figure things out. But my God, man, some of these things are pretty damn basic. Kim says, wish I knew some people that had access to NCIC. I used to. I used to have access to NCIC. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Or similar databases to check all these names. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Soaring energy. Or did Tommaso go in with her and cause her heart rate to raise and lower? I mean, see, and you're so right, Soaring energy. Very well could have happened. And this is what happens when you get no information. Your mind just, starts to go with a lot of probabilities. Paige says Miami Vice. I mean, a lot of times that's what causes a lot of confusion and a lot of nonsense minutia within the realm of what really happened. You get distracted, not you in particular, but everybody in general we all get distracted because there's just nothing there. There's just nothing there. If you are watching and you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you like the conversation, here everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a theory. Everybody's voice matters. And that's how we learn from one another. Subscribe for free, everybody. Paul says, Soren, I think the same thing. Someone was already in the house. Very, very probable. Very probable. No doubt about it. Very probable. That's probably why they knew they had all the time in the world, right? I'm not sure that they were in there as long as they say they were, like 40-some minutes. But the idea is that it's probably why they knew they had all the time in the world. Gronsky, Johanna was a brand ambassador for the electric skateboard company. And she said e-skating is a way to deal with her own depression and anxiety. Wow. Everybody had nothing when everything I read and everything I watched, no one had anything bad to say about Johanna. Nobody. They said she was just a really liked individual. It's always the good ones. It's always the good ones that stuff like this happens to, no doubt. Soaring energy, and now that I'm thinking about it, didn't Richard say his brother was waiting for him when she got home already in the house? And now that I'm thinking about it, didn't Richard say his brother was waiting for her when she got home already in the house? I'd have to go look at that back. In all honesty, I'd have to go look at that back because I hate to say yes and then it's not. But you may be right. We'll have to go back and look at that for sure. Falls. But kudos to Nancy because apparently she tried to fight back. No doubt. It's a feisty old little lady. Feisty. And sometimes when you know the chips are down, hey, if you're going to go down, you might as well go down fighting. No doubt. Yeah, Mary says, I can't remember. It wouldn't surprise me. He got everything else that he said, right? Pretty specific. I'm sure that he would have probably made that comment. Just saying. He seemed pretty adamant like he knew how everything unfolded. Almost like if somebody had been there with him. Almost like if somebody was the third person. Almost like somebody wrote the cipher. Almost like somebody had this all planned out from the beginning. It is so true, everybody. I'm telling you. Paige, a lot of people do believe the porch guy is Richard. I'm not so sure. Kim, who did R say his psychiatrist was that he parted? He never did say her name or his name. He just said they parted ways like 2 weeks before Nancy was taken. Paige, I need more information first, no doubt. That's all he said, if I recall right, was that they had separated 2 weeks prior to Nancy be taken. Who knows? Maybe he said, "Hey, I think I want to go ahead and off a person. Hey, I think I want to go ahead and take out a person." And that person said, "Oh, you can't." The psychiatrist said, "Oh, you can't say those things. You can't talk like that." And they had a rift, and maybe he parted ways. Or here's the other quick twist to it all. Maybe I don't know how, but maybe he went ahead and maybe she's unalive herself. Wouldn't that be something? Whoever did it was cowardly bastard. That's no doubt about it, Falls. Well said. No doubt about it. But you ever notice how you're not hearing about these people's names like you did before? You're not hearing them out there. TC has been quiet, hasn't said anything. Annie hasn't said nothing. The family in general hasn't said anything. An American narcissist, in my opinion, Paige says. No doubt. Gronsky, the hiker joined the hiker John Herma saw the friend of Joanna and Luke Harema saw suspect scared, nervous, shocked, like he had just unalived someone. Very possible. I'm saying there's something there possibly with that individual in the Big Sur case, in the Big Sur area in the trails. I'm saying it is very possible. Once again, it's always the last person to see somebody, and it's always somebody. It always appears that more than likely it's somebody who knows the victim. He was her friend, he claimed, right? Paul says, I tried going that route, Kim, and was told, I can't give you that information. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't know what it's going to take other than somebody just to slip up. Why would he do it? Why would he do it, the friend? Says Paige. I don't know. Same reason maybe the person who took Nancy at 84 years old. If it was maybe R, maybe he's just a pathetic, person who loves inflicting pain on others. Jameson says, what's your favorite show? Oh, right now, lately, Jameson, I haven't been watching anything except trying to figure out more information on this case, to be honest. It just makes no sense, everybody. It is so sad. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Fall said, Didi, Monk said things. One of them hung out in the house and tied up. It's very possible. It's very possible. I mean, there may have been somebody in there. Maybe it was a setup. Maybe somebody who knew the family, which is a high probability in these type of cases. Maybe they let somebody in that house. That's a very probability. No doubt about it. Her best friend is Garrett, male, 39 years old, says Gronsky. talking about Johanna. Her best friend is Garrett, male, a male, 39 years old. She was 37, so that'd be about right. That was the case up in the Big Sur area. Fall says, the monk said things one of them hung out in the house. That's very probable. Page, psychiatrist has to honor HIPAA. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. That's a for sure, no doubt. They're not going to say anything. But I just wonder, like, if that was maybe a reason why they split. I mean, it happens. The page says, possibly a love triangle, Groundsky. It could very well could be. You know? You have R's address, and apparently there is an RV storage next door. There's things we could check, but may be dangerous. That is true, Kim. That is true. Groundsky, she was about to launch a podcast aimed at helping others. That is so sad, Groundsky. Once again, talking about the case up at Big Sur area, up in the trails. Oh, I'm sure that's why, dog. No doubt about it. That's very probable. Falls. No, my info guy is a detective investigator. He said you are trying to make me lose my job. Yeah. I mean, there's so much out there, man. People are very, what's a good word? Squeamish to really put anything out there or say anything. And all this, of course, we always say it's just my opinion. Because, we know how people can be. It is just our opinion. That's all it is. But it's our opinion because they're giving you nothing. Nothing. Zero. Nada. Groundsky, I gather a lot of this info from New York Post, April 16th. Very interesting. Keel Tom, maybe he got obsessed with the psychiatrist transference. It's a real thing. Yes, it's a possibility. I mean, we don't know her name. We don't know who it is. He's the only one that's really going to know, him and the people close around him. Hell, we don't even know if she has been accidentally unalived or has been unalived, period. And what about the brother, the half-brother, Mike? Does anybody think that he's sane? Did anybody think that he has really nothing to play in this? Or is it like he says, R is just a nutcase? He does it all the time. Makes you wonder, right? Makes you wonder big time. Click that like, everybody. Click that like. Hit those emojis. If you're watching and you want to subscribe, by all means, please subscribe. These thoughts and everything are coming not just from everybody in here, but from myself. And they're all opinions that we all have, trying to make each other smarter. Paige says, I don't know. Paige, yes. I mean, there has to be a little bit more to the stories on these cases. We pretty much know what happened. We're just waiting for the results of what's going to happen to McKee in the Columbus case, right? Now we're jumping to the Columbus case with Monique and Spencer, who were unalived by the ex-husband of Monique. So we pretty much know how that's unfolding. We're just waiting for the details. In this other one, in the Big Sur area, we don't know who, we don't know what, we really don't know when, we do know where, and that's it, where it happened. So hopefully they're going to be able to find out what was in her toxology report. And then, of course, Nancy, God, there's a mystery. That's a mystery in a mystery. Gronsky, there is a GoFundMe for the family, and they are close to reaching their $18,000 goal. That is awesome, Gronsky. That is awesome. Amen. Amen for that. Falls. There's also pics of him and two other guys camping somewhere there in Tucson. Falls says pics. Unbelievable. I just wish there was more that I could share with you all or tell you all. But my God, I feel like I've really just told you all everything that I possibly could tell you. And it's just disappointing that a lot of this stuff that could be verified pretty simply is not being verified at all. Whether it's true or whether it's not. Whether it's eliminating the son, putting the son-in-law out of the way, or whether it's going ahead and putting a person who has mental issues out of the way, or whatnot. The more people that's involved in the Nancy case, the more people that you're going to be able to make assumptions on what could have happened, what would have happened, what did happen. And in dealing with the Big Sur case, area, the hiker with Johanna, there is just the beginning. So we're on the beginning of that one. We just haven't heard anything. Yeah, it kind of draws a picture to possibly the friend that said what happened and how he was shaking and everything, but it's so disappointing, everybody. It's so disappointing with the lack of information. Kim, where would I find those pics of the camping, and when were they taken, if you don't mind telling? Well, let her know, Falls, if you can. Yeah, it's just so overwhelming with everything that's happening. It is just so overwhelming. Maybe that's why, JLR took off and is now chasing tornadoes, I mean, you can't blame the guy. There's just no information. And as for, exploring with Jim, maybe that's why he decided to go down Route 66 and look at old buildings and structures and an adventure ride, because there's just nothing new. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why Dad's Gone Live, went back to his neck of the woods, because there's just no information. I don't know. It's becoming harder and harder to recognize, in my opinion. Mary, look up Michael Nolette. I think he has pictures there. I have pictures of Michael Nolette Jr. We have a picture. I love history and true crimes. Yes. Yes, I'm with you. I love the unknown. I just don't like not being able to make headways on the unknown. Kim, what a day when tornadoes are tamer than this. We still want to find Nancy. No doubt about it, Kim. No doubt about it, for sure. Gronsky, the Sykes Hot Springs in a 2-day hike, 20-mile Pine Ridge Trail, 5,000 feet elevation gained with river crossings. They say it's a very tenacious and treacherous. It's very treacherous. The terrain. It's very rough. So yeah, it's not like your beginners. Let's go down, take a walk. That's for sure. Melissa, hey, Melissa's in the house. Good to have you, Melissa. Good to have you. Remember to click like, everybody. Click that like. Share it with your followers, your friends. Do me that favor. Let's get those algorithms going. And I do want to say a good thing with Mark the Shark. Kudos to Mark for doing a good job on the reporting of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. up in California. The perp went ahead and David Burks was gone ahead and charged with the unaliving of Celeste. Kudos to Mark DeShart. Did a really good job covering that story. Paige, I cannot imagine a mountain in my backyard, basically, no doubt. Melissa, hey, Lisa. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's like they got what they wanted, right? They got a case. It's gone very, very quiet. And they're just still not giving no answers. Lisa, I thought you were a mod here. Me too. Well, Lisa is a mod. Right, Lisa? You are a mod. Well, you know what? You do the best you can, my friend. You do the best you can. So that's what's going on. I mean, it's just crickets right now at everybody. It's just crickets. And that's a bad place to be. When you hear crickets, you don't hear anything. You got it, Lisa. You got this. Do your best. Marianne, another thing that is driving me crazy are all the scientists missing. I'm sorry, Marianne, you've been asking me about that, and yes, the last count I got was like 13, 11 to 13 missing. And just now I heard that they were going to cover this on, I think, 60 Minutes or something. They were going to cover this story because it's now getting out of hand where too many people are going missing. You got it. No problem, Paige. Fall says, Kim can't find it right now, but I think it was Mav Investigates from last night. They were discussing Richard. So our probably ditch, says Kim, the camper and maybe the car. We need a close-up on that dog. Yes, we do. We need a close-up of that dog, no doubt about it. Melissa says, you got it. Kim, you are welcome. So that's yeah, I mean, where do you go? Is there anybody else that you all can think of outside the box that could be a good person of interest? I think we pretty much covered everybody. Fall says, Kim, go watch Mab from first night. He has lots of pictures and info. Melissa, this morning told my hubby guy in my town looks like Richard. He says, you said the same about Brian Laundry and Bridge Guy in Indiana. What? That's what you know. You are a crime junkie, no doubt. Can I say a lot? People look the same. LOL. Crime junkie to the hilt. Jenny says, the dog looks like a chocolate lab. Yeah, I find it hard to see where the pit bull part is, to be honest, but cameras are very deceiving. Videos are can be very deceiving and give different looks, no doubt. Marianne, I was going to tell JR to stop chasing tornadoes and search for the scientists. Oh, Lord, no doubt. Clay, Nancy's neighbor, and need more info on Lopez. Lopez is the double pack guy. Lopez is the double backpack guy. That's short for Lopez. Yes, you're right. We need to do a lot more work on that one. I need to do a lot more work on that one, the Lopez. Anybody got his complete first and middle name so I don't have to like search like hell to get it? Has anybody got Lopez's first and middle name? Kim, what about the kid across from Nancy? Just got out of jail. Various charges. Whew, you talking about, ain't that, what was his name? Clay? Is that Clay you're talking about? Yes. Richard said boxer pit bull. It was a mix. Kim, I saw a guy in a rental car today with a similar dog today and thought this guy slouched down, not him. I'm telling you, we're looking at everybody and everybody. Ellie states there is no threat to the public. You know, here's a good thing. Thank you, Falls. Clay Couch, that's the name. That's the name of the other guy I think that you were referring to. Gronsky, that is so true. I caught that and I said, you know, you don't know how this person became unalive, right? You don't know how Johanna Ruth Shields became unalive. You don't have any answers on who did it. You have no clue who did it at this point. And then you're going to tell the public that there's no safety concerns here. I read that and I was like, how can you just say that? I mean, you're better off not saying anything. You know what I mean? You're better off not saying nothing, Gronsky, in my opinion. You know, for law enforcement to say that there's no threat when they don't even have answers yet as to who, what, where, when, why, how can you tell the public, you have no threat worries here? Makes no sense. And you're definitely right, Gronsky. Thank you for bringing that up, my friend. Kim, yes. No first or middle name for Lopez here. Okay. I don't know, says Paige. I don't know. Falls. I imagine they looked to see if she had water in her lungs. I mean, you know, the coroner has to come out there. The coroner has to assess what he thinks. If they found water in the lungs, if they didn't find water in the lungs, did she, you know, become unalive by something else or whatnot? Okay, the coroner is going to have to determine that. And yes, it does take about a week or two. So they are waiting for the toxicology report to come back. But just the idea for them to say that the public has no safety concerns, like no worries, don't worry here. This happened, and we don't know how it happened, but you all are safe. Everything's fine. I find that so insulting my intelligence. Fall says, I imagine they looked to see if she had water in her lungs. Pay says, mind-blowing. You know, and it's just because they don't want to get a frenzy going with the people. I get it. But sometimes less is better than none, right? Sometimes it's better just not to say nothing than to say something so, in my opinion, asinine and ridiculous. Yes, people, there is somebody out here that committed this crime. More than likely. I highly doubt that she did it to herself, but it's possible. But when we tell you not to worry about it, no, that's not right either. Fall, she doesn't appear like an addict to me since they were waiting on toxicology reports. Exactly. I mean, the things that I have read about her and the things that I've read about people talking about her, yeah, she didn't strike me as a person that was struggling in that aspect. He says, I am completely baffled. Click that like, everybody. Let's click that like. Do me that favor. Yes, toxology. The toxology report is going to be very interesting. My guess, it's only a guess. I have no clue. But my guess would say, based on everybody that were talking about her and the way they were talking about her, my guess would be that had nothing, she had nothing in her system that would have caused this. And that's where the water in the lungs and all that comes to play. You know? It's just, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And once again, that was in reference to the Big Sur case in California. Well, back to Nancy. Unless she was poisoned. That is true, Paige. That is true. That is very true. Does anybody here, honestly, in your heart of hearts, think that Nancy is still alive? Let me ask that question. Lisa said, no self-administered drugs. I agree with that. No doubt about it, Lisa. Does anybody here think that Nancy is still alive? Kim says, so rather. Lisa, fentanyl is available. Mary, no. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, Mary. Paige, on the streets. Mary, no. Marianne, no. Lisa, no. Melissa, no. Lisa, no. CR, 1%, I think. That's almost a no. Yeah, I don't think so either. Kim, oops, I meant no. Fall says no. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say, with her health issues and her health problems she was going through, I think it's fair to say she is not alive. And I think the family even knows that. I mean, would it be a miracle? Of course. Would we love to see her be alive? Yes, absolutely. But I think that ship has sailed. I think now is just a matter of finding out where her remains are and who pulled this off. You know what I mean? Who pulled this off and where are her remains? Nothing but scream, says Paige, no doubt. See, that's the whole point, everybody. That's why law enforcement, man, if they would at least just give a little bit, just to validate who's lying and who's not, who's cleared and who's not, instead of just making blanket statements and then making no statements. It's crazy. Gronsky says her friends stated she is deeply influential, touches countless lives. Talking about the case at the Big Sur area. Yes, I totally agree. That's what I heard too, Gronsky. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. That's what I read. That she was very much there. You know, she loved what she did. She loves what she does or did do, and she loved making a difference. She seemed like a happy person. Yes, she might have had some depression going on, but I think she was. I think definitely this is going to be a very suspicious case, no doubt, when it's said and done. Her friend stated she is deeply influential. Paige, I'm pretty sure Chicago had a minor incident at a hospital today. A few victims, I think, pew pew. Oh, that's going around everywhere, it seems like. It's almost becoming a normal thing. You know, I know out here in Lucas County, out here in this area, I know that happens, seems like a daily occurrence. Pew pewing every day, there seems to be another pew pew happening. Unaliving somebody. But that's in Toledo anyway. And I don't live there, but that is in Toledo. Do you think Richard is in here right now under another name? Being that there's nobody else that's really going live right now, That I'm aware of? Probably. Marianne says, no, Mary. Fall says, wouldn't doubt it. I would say that he's probably listening, not because it's a big channel, but because it's the only channel running right now, other than if you want to chase tornadoes or, go on an adventure hunt, down in New Mexico. Yeah, I think he is very much listening to anybody that is bringing his name up. Fall says he visits Sleuth regularly. Yeah, does Sleuth still talk to him on a regular basis? I thought he broke all contact with that. Paige is laughing. I thought he broke all contact with him, or is Sleuth still talking to him? Mary says no. Okay. I was just wondering. Paige says Sleuth's chat believes it's definitely R. Look, what did we say? What did I tell you guys from the beginning when he first came on the very first time? When he talked about all the things that he said specifically. What did I tell you guys? I told you guys from day one. This guy knows too many details, and you can either prove it or disprove it. You can either find out by checking the lake or not. But this guy definitely knows too much. Almost like he was the third wheel. Right? He said there was 3 people. He mentioned 2, but he never mentioned the third. Remember me telling you it was probably because it was him? Lisa said, yes, we say yes to dog. Majority. Richard's comments on his lives. Interesting. He is investigator something. Gronsky, I am hopeful they will solve Joanna's case for sure. If not, Gronsky, we're going to keep on it. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All I'm waiting for is to find out when we hear that toxology report. And we may have to search for it because it may not come out they may not bring it out right away, but we need to make sure we're able to get that information. Paige says, I'm scared to be wrong. That's why I won't commit to R yet. Fall says, and then last night, he was Jailhousing Snitch. That was his handle, Jail. I knew somebody, I remember somebody saying that was a handle. I just didn't know if that was him. Jailhousing Snitch. Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. Tina's in the house. I am not Richard. Tina Berber says, I am not Richard. I sure as hell hope not Tina. Paige says, allegedly. Falls, right? I don't know for sure. Mary says, laughing out, so crazy. Lisa, or it's another crazy person. Yeah, I saw that Jailhouse Snitch thing, and I was like, so it's funny you say that, because I was like, well, that's odd. And I thought they talked about that was him. Who knows? There's been a few kind of crazy comments on our lives here in the past that I've wondered where in the hell this is coming from. But, yeah. Do I think he's listening? No doubt in my mind. It's because it's the only thing going on right now, in my honest opinion. And because we are really, I think there's a lot of feeling that he could be a very serious person of interest. And I think he knows that because we talk about it all the time. And no one has been able to dethrone him from that position. From being that 1-2 person of persons of interest. I think that's why he would be listening. No doubt. Allegedly Falls, right? I don't know for sure. Sleuth called I. Paige says, Sleuth called I. Who's I, Paige? I'm trying to think. Sleuth called I. Him out on the name change. Got you. Thank you. Just had to read a little further. My bad. Pause. No, Sleuth identified him. Alley Cat. Hey, Devil Dog. What's going on, Alley Cat? From Tennessee. Good to have you. Paige. Okay, thanks. I didn't know that yet. Falls. Falls says Sleuth laughed. He goes, so you're going as jailhouse snitch now. He probably forgot to change his picture, his profile picture, right? Because he did that one time. The second time he had that interview with that he came on to interview with Sleuth, he did say somebody said he changed his name, but he didn't change his profile picture or something to that effect. Yes, Kim, this could be ours clever plan to excuse the DNA. He would share genealogy with the half brother. Is that true? It is possible. This could be ours clever plan to excuse the DNA. He would share genealogy with the half brother. Yes, yes. I mean, I'm sure that there would be some way they would be able to break that down with the technology we have, but yes, absolutely. Absolutely. In my opinion. Whoever it was typed that he had changed his name from whatever. Yeah, I remember that. Paige says, oh my God, confusing BS, no doubt. If you are in here and you are just watching and you want to be a subscriber, subscribe for free. Get in here, get smarter, and let's have that conversation. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a theory. And it all matters because sometimes we can help each other understand things better. Falls. But if it was R, his blood type would probably be different because they don't have the same father. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There should be a way for them to decipher that. But at first, just on surface, it may come out because they are half brothers. Alley Cat, do you think the perp pre-planned a resting burial place in advance in case she passed, or do you think they intended to give her back after they got the money? No, I think the plan was to give her back. If it was LD, it was just to get the money and give her back. Okay, that would have been the plan. Everything went wrong when something went wrong in that process. When everything went wrong. If this was more like in the neighborhood of RN, then that is very possible they would have had her plan because it didn't matter if they wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been about bringing her back. It would have been about making a statement. You know, and so for that, I could see them having a place to put her in. You know, just my thought. But very good question, Alicat. Very good question. But I do think if it was definitely LD, that was the whole plan, was to give her back. It was to get the money and go. Quick, make some money and it's done with. But when everything went south, everybody panicked. That would be my suggestion on him. And on the other, like I said, if it was RN, then yes, there was no intention of giving her back. It didn't really matter. Because money might have not been the issue with that for him or them. How would Sleuth confirm the person is definitely Richard, who keeps chatting under different names with weird clues? I have no idea. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's his modus operandi, right? In law enforcement, called modus operandi is a person uses similar. He uses the same verbiage, just under a different name. So when you hear similar things, you're able to kind of tell a little bit, like, okay, this guy is saying the same thing, just in a different name, right? I wonder what happened with her. I wonder why people think this or that. I wonder why, has anybody ever heard of ciphers? Have anybody ever heard of burger chefs? You know what I mean? And then that is basically the same modus operandi. He's using the same type of filter because it's what he knows. Okay, it's what RN knows. But all that's different is his name change. Maybe that's how they're trying to figure it out, I guess. Paige says the picture is a blonde lady. Alley Cat, then they wouldn't have gone far, I would think. Yes, they wouldn't have gone that far if it was LD. They wouldn't have gone that far at all. That's going to be around that area. I believe that. It's going to be that 5, 10, maybe 30 miles away at most. But you also got to remember that because they didn't actually know about all this, that she was gone up until like 9:30 a.m. Tucson time, Arizona time, then that's a big window. That's a big window. But I still don't think they would have carried her. If it was LD, it's going to be, in my opinion, something similar to what I have predicted already. In my opinion. They wouldn't have not had somebody with them that was unalive and just driving around trying to find a spot. They would have found a spot anywhere they could have found one. Fall says, by what he was saying. Yeah, no doubt, Fall. She probably did have a heart attack. Patient couldn't kick it back on. Yeah, I agree with that, Alley Cat. I don't think they went that far if it was LD. If it was RN, yeah, they would have probably hit. Look, it's easy to check, right? Just go rake the lake. That's all you got to do. He could always take him to lunch, laughing out loud. No doubt, right? Oh, my Lord. Alley Cat, take his cup. Distance decay, no doubt, no doubt. Sweet Pea, hi. How you doing, Sweet Pea? Good to have you in here. Sweet Pea is here in the house. If you like the live, sign up. Doesn't cost you anything. Become one of the literally devil pups in the chat. Help everyone and get smarter. The more people we have, the more people we're able to bounce things off of. Good to have you, Sweet Pea. Ground ski, is that a 5 mile from Nancy or A&T? I'm thinking it's a 5 to 10 mile radius from Nancy. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. It's a 5 to 10 mile from radius would be my honest opinion. But as far as RN, well, we know if they just go 36.6 miles to Rose Canyon Lake, they're either going to find her there or they're not, right? It's that simple. Let's eliminate this individual so that we don't have to put this guy in the equation no more. That's how I see it. Falls, or we are all confused together, no doubt. That's probably the betting odds. If we were on DraftKings or something, that would definitely be our betting odds. That would probably have the highest probability. Mary says her neighborhood. Very possible. If it was to get rid of her quickly, like they were going to get rid of her in 2 days and give her back, being maybe LD, because that's still my person of interest, then yes, I would say they didn't go very far. They just went far enough to go ahead and get her out and then take her again and put her somewhere close by, but deeper. That would be my opinion. But if it was RN, that's a different story. Marianne says, I am really confused. We are all confused, Marianne. No doubt about it. So what's going on, Sweet Pea? Do you have any comments or anything on what's going on here? Give us your opinions on what you think. Don't forget to click like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, everybody. Gronsky says, I think the odds plus the closer to Nancy's house. I agree with that, Gronsky. I really do. I really do believe that. In my heart of hearts, that's what it's telling me. That's what it's always told me. It was going to be close by. No one's going to take a unalive body with them in a vehicle and take that chance on getting stopped. That's not logical. Marianne says, I'm betting it's Richard and maybe his brother because we really don't know if they don't talk. We don't. We don't have any information, to be honest. Fall says, if we had a pick with the string like you see on the crime shows, our strings would be everywhere. No doubt. No doubt. It would be everywhere. Sweet Pea says, I haven't been following the new developments. Do they have suspects? I don't think they have any suspects. And according to some pundits and people who would have a good idea on how things go like this, people who were in profilers and whatnot. And then, of course, according to Megyn Kelly, which I watched earlier today with Megyn Kelly and with Ashley Banfield, they both said that their sources are telling them they have no suspects. None. Zero. No suspects. And that's pretty scary that they have no suspects, is what they're saying. And you all know who Ashley Banfield is. You all know who Megyn Kelly is. They're saying that their sources are telling them they have no suspects. That's all I can say, in all honesty. We have people of interest. And that's just people that could or could not be a part of this. But they have come out and said they have no suspects. Big kudos. Usually they leave them at the scene or they leave them nearby the scene. No doubt about it, big kudos. No doubt about it. Lisa Page says, whiteboard. Fall says, yep, Lisa. Marianne, they don't have anything. That's what according to the sources of literally Megyn Kelly and Ashley Banfield, their sources are telling them they don't have any leads. None. Melissa, odd. Emily Pike was in 3 bags found in Arizona on full moon, just like Richard said about Nancy a year before. Yes, that is so true. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, he talked about her, Emily Pike, in Sleuth's chat room, if I'm not mistaken. He talked about that she was probably the other person that they had done this to, or something to that effect. Don't quote me, but I think so. Melissa Cans. Gronsky, this case is costing a fortune to run. Yeah, no doubt. Melissa said Pike. Yes, I know what you meant. But thank you. That's a good comment, no doubt, and a good reminder, because that was stated that she was probably along that realm, because he stated the same thing. 3 black bags, except the only difference is that they put 2 of those black bags where they left them right in the open of the area that they believe they unalived her. Okay, and then dismembered her. And then one of the bags is still missing as of even today. They're still missing one of the bags, and that has her arms and her legs in it. They don't know where that bag is at. Marianne says, yes, he did. Melissa, an odd guy on the bike rides and wears a mask nonstop. Very true, very true. I mean, that's you can't make this stuff up, everybody. You just can't make it up. You can't just make this stuff up. It's one of those things where, everything seems to come together and a lot of things seem to make sense, but not having that final nugget seems to be the biggest downfall. You don't have that one little piece that you're missing. But they could find out pretty quick if they would just send a dive team over there. They could either expose RN as a fraud and say he's full of shit up to his ears and he was lying because her body's not in there. Or they could say, we have a problem. We have not just one but several bodies down here. Right? That's easy to confirm because he stated that's where she was at. And this stuff about, well, I'm not sure if she's dead, that's not going to fly. You gave specifics and you stand on those specifics. So either they go in there and they're able to take a dive team and say, yes, she's here, or no, she's not. And he either becomes a bigger part of the story or he becomes the past of the story. Paul says that's supposed to be a homeless guy. Paige, Savannah has never acknowledged any of my Nancy Instagram posts over 70 days that I tagged her in. But Nancy Grace will react to my ex comment about Nancy Grace dog. Make it make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. In all honesty, Paige, it just don't make sense. The first time I ever commented on Nancy Grace, also a rich celebrity. Oh, I understand that. False, because Nancy is her pal, Paige. You're nothing to her. That's true. These people, they run in those circles where they think that they're bigger than everyone. They have a higher stature than everyone. In reality, they put their pants on the same way, 1 foot at a time. I never seen anybody float in the air and put their pants on. That's for damn sure. But you're right. Seems obvious to me about S, but whatever stops gaslighting us. No doubt about it. Well said. Sweet Pea says, just be transparent or don't say nothing at all. Shame on them. Totally agree there, Sweet Pea. Totally agree. Big kudos. Kim, so you would need a SWAT team to protect the dive team because Art might have the place set up for a trap. Oh, in my opinion. I don't really think so, Kim, and I'll tell you why. Because he gave that information voluntarily, right? He gave those specifics. I'm thinking here's a cop, so bear with me. He gave those specifics voluntarily. No one twisted his arm to give those. And because of that reason, if he's telling the truth, he wants her to be identified. So the next step is now his brother becomes pulled into this equation. He becomes a factor in this equation, right? Because he's the one that gave that where she was at. His brother now, who he claims is the one that did this, is also brought into the picture. So the reality is, I don't think he would want to do anything per se to anybody other than to keep that story going in the limelight. You know what I mean? That's just my police telling me, in me. If that makes any sense. Big kudos. He is concerning if he is telling half truth and half lies. Very true. That is very true. Big kudos. Paige, I believe Nancy Grace would search for her dog if it went missing. Harder than the Guthries look for their mother, in my opinion. That's a fair statement, no doubt about it. I don't want to believe that, but I trust my gut. And sometimes you have to go with your gut. Because sometimes the one thing that's not going to lie to you and fail you is going to be your sixth sense that you have, that everyone has. Kim says, oh, okay, that makes sense. That would just be my honest opinion, because why else would he have given the exact location? right? So if you give the exact location, it's because you want this body to come out. So you want the story to continue. You want your brother that you accused of this, he's going to be brought into the situation, which now you have a major thing happening, and that news is now engulfed in flames, if you will, for a better lack of words. Lisa, if it walks like a duck, it's talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a damn duck. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And you know what? The perp walks like a duck. Remember the guy in the front when Monk Intrigue went ahead? When Monk Intrigue did that side by side? TC and the guy at the camera, and he put him side by side, and you could see how they walked, how they bend over, how their back looks like, how their ass looked, everything. They were very similar. And I think it was Monk's Intrigue that is the one that did that. Monk Intrigue. Yes, many ducks. They both had that walk. They both, it blew me away from the get go because I was like, damn, that does look very, very similar in many ways, in all ways. So, yes, those two people could have been the same. Big kudos. He may have been using the location as bait. Yeah, that's true. And that's pretty much, it's possible. It's possible he could have been using it. But then if that was the case, he probably something would have triggered when SI went up there and checked the lake himself with his fishing rod and his light and his camera, right? You would think something would have come up on that. Matthew Cunningham, do you care to give your input on what you feel happened? I'm a first-time watcher. Subscribe just now. Whew, that's a long one, buddy. That's a long one. My three people of interest has always been LD, Lopez, which is the double pack guy, and obviously Richard. And TC is actually the fourth. And the reason I say that is because they won't eliminate any one of those like they can easily eliminate them, if that makes any sense to you. So they could eliminate TC by saying they have photos and pictures of him dropping off Nancy, but they didn't do that, which tells me you can't be the last person to see somebody, and I'm just using my police knowledge here. You can't eliminate somebody who was the last person to see Nancy, but you can't show where she dropped him off and when he left. That makes no sense to me, especially when cars are going by and they got video and still shots of that. So that doesn't make sense to me. Now, as far as moving up the pecking order, Lopez, he was there trying to get into the back of the fence, right? The double pack guy, trying to get to that back of the fence of that one house. The house owners called 911. Police showed up, talked to him. He said he was trying to put his stuff back in the fence, inside the fence, but he was having a hard time with the latch. So he then went ahead, and once the cops left, they must have bought his story, because as soon as he left, they show him leaving the fence line and going towards a car that mysteriously on the background there was a white Kia Soul that was also seen hauling ass in front of Nancy's house, okay, during the night she was abducted. You follow me so far? So then that's one of those things that, did they get his name? Did they go talk to him? Did they see him? Did they ascertain any questions with him? How does that happen? Because then the next day, the owner of the house said, no, that guy doesn't live here, because he had claimed to police that he lived there, but the owner said he doesn't live here. He was trying to break in. So now you go, oh, hell, what just happened here? Right? Just makes all the sense. So then you get to Yes, I remember seeing those photos as well, and I do agree with what you're saying. Then you go to literally Richard. Richard Nolet Jr. gave a lot of detailed information. He gave a lot of detailed information as to how it was done. She gave the five essence of what law enforcement looks at. They look at who, what, where, when, why. He gave you all those elements. But the specific that he gave you is where she was taken, how she was put in, wrapped in bags and netting and chains and weights and etc., and where she was placed at Rose Canyon Lake. Those are specifics, okay? Now you say, well, maybe he was just saying that. Well, that's fine. But here's how they could validate it. Send your divers over there, rake the lake, check to see if the people are, if she's in there, in those bags, as he claims. And if it's not, then his story is done. He's a has-been. If she's there, then it becomes, the story becomes more back on top again. So it's easy to validate whether he's lying or telling the truth. That is pretty simple. Okay? No one's going to give you that specific of information and you not follow that lead. It's ridiculous. Okay? That should have been done when he first gave out that lead, probably the very next day. My opinion, law enforcement. And then the last is LD. He crashed his car. It was a blue Charger, reported. They don't tell you when he crashed it. They'll tell you when he totaled it, should I say. There was a woman that at the same time when Nancy was taken that was hanging out a window screaming for help. She was screaming for help. 911 was called. We know what time the 911 call came in. What we don't know is when that car was actually stopped, literally, by the cops. Because Sheriff Nano said that car was stopped. Okay? And it had nothing to do with Nancy. Now, my thing is, how long did it take from the 911 call to when they stopped that car? Because it's not what you see, sometimes it's what you don't see. Was Nancy in that vehicle? Did someone say, shut her up, she's going to get us caught? Somebody whacks her, her heart now gives out, she becomes unalive, they panic, they put her outside somewhere that they can come back later because they don't know what they're going to do. They have to regroup. They put her there, maybe dig a little hole, shove her in there, take the hell off and get out of that area, only to be stopped later by the cops. The cop comes in and says, hey, we had a 911 call, somebody hanging out the window screaming for help. Is everything okay? Yes, officer, it was just me and my boyfriend, me and my husband, me and my friend, or friends saying we just got into an argument. Everything's cool, and no one hit each other. Everything's fine. Officer gets back on the radio. Hey, dispatch is 23, spoke to the party. They said it was just a verbal argument. No harm, no foul. I'm 10-8. Clear. And that's the end of that. It's that simple, that probable. He didn't see Nancy because he would have even known Nancy was missing because they didn't find Nancy missing until about 9:30 Sunday morning. Right? And this all happened at the same time, reporting at the same time Nancy was taken. Now, we don't know when did LD crash his vehicle? When was it totaled? When asked, LD said, my car, when asked by Brianna Whitney, the crime reporter from Tucson, in an interview, she asked him, did you own a blue vehicle? And he said, yes. It was totaled, and it had nothing to do with Nancy. Why would he say that statement? But let's go a little bit further. Kayla Day, the girl that was with Luke for a while, okay? The girl that was with Luke for a while, LD, okay? They both were arrested at Walmart parking lot for selling and dealing in drugs. That's been reported, okay? Now, here's the kicker. The day before they served him with a warrant, a search warrant to search his house and his vehicle at Culver's, his vehicle was at Culver's, right? Before they went ahead and served him a warrant, when he comes up, the police comes up to his vehicle, the first thing he says is this about Nancy Guthrie? Who says that? Who says that? And then follows up with the very next thing is, if you want to see my phone, you can see my phone. You can look at my phone. I didn't have it with me that night. It was on my dresser, on top of my dresser in my room. Those are the first two things that came out of his mouth. Who does that? So do I think he's a person of interest? Absolutely. Do I think that there's a lot there with Luke Daly? Absolutely. Do I think that he did it? I have no clue if he did it or not. But I tell you what, he came in, he shaved his beard, he shaved his goatee, he shaved everything when he did that interview with Brianna Whitney. Wore his sleeves all the way to his hands, long sleeves, buttoned his shirt up to hide all, what I would say is to hide all the tattoos. So when I look at that as an officer, I'm saying, hey, wait a minute. Why did he change his whole look? Why did he wear these long sleeves? Why doesn't anybody know what happened to the blue Charger? Because apparently it was taken by, literally, it was towed so the insurance could declare it a total loss. So then it becomes, well, who towed it? Where is it at? Was there any forensics done to it? Was there anything checked for fingerprints or anything? That's why he is on my top of my list as a person of interest. What I would say is go talk to Luke again, bring him in, and interrogate him. What I would say is go bring in, Richard and interrogate him. What I would say is bring in Lopez and interrogate him. What I would say is go bring TC and interrogate him. You have something there because all these anomalies cannot be coincidence. They just can't. Okay? They're not coincidence. That's why I believe all that. So, that was what I would have to say. Now, to answer your question, as I already did, I'm going to go back and read. Would you would think the police would have went and knocked on the owner's door before releasing that man? Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't know what they did. We know they didn't because he walked straight towards a white Kia, and later that person, the owner of the house, came out and it was reported that he said that person doesn't live here. Okay? Just saying. Definitely. I do agree with you. I think LD does have knowledge. Once again, it's just a person of interest. I would definitely go back and interrogate him again if they didn't do it the first time. Paige says, Twilight Zone. Alfred Hitchcock. Fowl says the shoes Richard is wearing when he's walking the dog look exactly like the porch guy's shoes. You go look at the shoes that they were wearing. They were identical. You're exactly right. So that would be my opinion, in all honesty. Growski, I feel this group takes the unknown and makes it more known, but I am still spinning in my head. No doubt. I'm with you. Pay says, hi, Matthew. Welcome. Matthew, I think LD has knowledge. Pay says, we agree, Matthew. Yes. Alley Cat, I agree with you, Lisa. I have my dog, just don't get it. Maybe they got the news in ransom letter. Paige, right, Allie? Something like that, I do believe. Paige says, woo. Matthew, yes, I remember seeing those photos as well. I do agree with what you're saying. Paige, kidding. Matthew, you would think that the police would have went and knocked on the owner's door before releasing. That's what normal law enforcement would do. You always want to make contact with the reporting party to make sure everything's good to go and that they know that you checked it out. Totally agree. Paige, yes, Matthew. Alley Cat, I always learn something here, and when I watch Megan and Ashley. Paige, I hope Gene is fine. Me too. I really do. Matthew, agree 100. Wish they would send people out to search that lake. That's the easiest way to determine if he's lying or telling the truth. It's just that simple. Why it's not happening? Look, I don't care if this guy is known to FBI and or police. I don't care if this guy sent them all this information, and they said this guy's a wacko. He's not makes no sense. He's off his meds. I don't care about all that. What I care about is he gave specifics, and the only way to discredit those specifics is to go ahead and follow up on that lead. You know, that would be my take. Melissa says, so you and Alex both think it's Luke. I think he needs to be interrogated again because I believe they missed some things. And that normally happens when you investigate people. That happens when you miss things. It's no problem going back, bringing him back in, and now hammer him on all those points, in my opinion. I've been saying this from day one. Day one. Well, maybe honestly, maybe like day 3. I've been saying this, that he has always been at the top. Literally. That's just me. But that's a person of interest. That just means he's not that he's guilty. It just means that, hey, there's too much inconsistencies here. And you got to go back and look at the facts. You got to go back and look at all the things that have happened and then decipher that and say, is there something here? You know, it's that simple. Remember that, says Matthew. Matthew, yes, they were arrested together. Okay, let's see what I missed here. I was watching Dad's Gone Live that night that he followed that car. Luke says he don't even know her, Kayla. And he says he doesn't know her, but here's the problem. He was stopped with her. He was with her at the parking lot of Walmart with literally dealing out of his car in the parking lot. Got arrested. She did too. Okay? So obviously not knowing her don't make any sense. Then a little bit, like 8 months prior, they were also detained again. Got in trouble. So to say that he didn't know her, that's not going to fly. Information that was all documented. That's what was reported. Lisa, did you see in there last night, Matthew, on DGL? Big kudos. That is a possibility. Big kudos. Lisa, I talked a lot as usual. Pay, smiling. Matthew, I remember that. Lisa, okay, Matthew, not last night, but DGL, but the other night. Matthew, yes, they were arrested together. Yes. Melissa, so you and Alex both think it was Luke. I've always had a notion that Luke was a person of interest that they needed to go ahead and talk to because from the very beginning, a lot of things were not adding up. So yes, they need to talk to him, and they need to talk to him fast, literally. Not just talk to him, they need to interrogate him. But yes, to answer your question in short, Melissa. Pays, upside down smiley face, FML, laughing out loud. Matthew, yes, I remember that. That's why would he have said that unless he knew something? No doubt about it. Sweet Pea, now they are... No, they are not. No, they are not what? Fill me in. Sweet Pea, no, they are not. Fill me in. Be a little bit more specific so I know what you're talking about. JB, hello. My first time to see your channel. Did you know of Richard's comments prior to Sleuth's interview? Is this a troll? Is this really a troll? Did you know of Richard's comments? No, I gave credit to Sleuth the whole time. With Sleuth's interview that he had with him, the first time he had it and the second time he had it, yes, I watched that. Sleuth did a hell of a job. Interview. He had made comments on Phoenix 10 weeks earlier. Didn't hear about that, to be honest. What I got was when I watched that interview and it all started making sense, I was looking at the little things. Not the big things, but the little things. Because the little things are what tells you the details of everything that is going on. Thank you, says Lisa. Matthew, I'm right on board with everything you're saying. I agree. I mean, I'm just using my police knowledge, my investigator's knowledge, my intuition as being in law enforcement, how things usually unfold. And none of that just made sense to me. None of it. Why these people were not being at least talked to again, because nothing made sense. How do you clear all, not that they clear all these people, but even the family member, the son-in-law, how do you clear him when you can't even show a picture of him arriving at the house or leaving, dropping off his mother-in-law, who was the last person he saw? Makes no sense, right? Makes no sense. You got pictures of everything else, but you don't have a picture of him? Sweet pea. Okay, hang on a sec. We're going to get to this because I think this is going somewhere. I am right on board with everything you said. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate you. Fellas, Fall says, YouTube doesn't like your message, Kim. Big kudos. I believe R has connections in Tucson. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Insurance man. Yes, I know where you're going with that exactly, Matthew. Allie, Richard did say I have to go away in handcuffs, then so be it. I just want the truth to come out, what he said. That is true, Alley Cat. JB, Richard has stated that he knew that the way to keep the crime scene clean was set up in a tent in the living room. He did say that. Absolutely. Growski, hello to everyone. It is nice to see some new names in here. Awesome to have you all. Kim, I guess although I've heard it talked about on other streams, okay, I'll leave it alone, says Kim. Oh, speak your mind, Kim. This is a platform where everybody has an opinion. Everybody makes each other smarter by what they have to bring and offer to the table. I'm saying all this, but you guys have opinions too. But I was asked directly why I thought this or what my thoughts were, and that's pretty much the only way I can explain it as short as I did. It was very disturbing, but I haven't heard anyone talking about those comments. None. Zero. Zero. Big kudos. JB, someone I know had made that same statement. Sweet Pea, mishandling of evidence and people of interest. Okay, so, and I guess I want to break this down, Sweet Pea. So when you say mishandling of evidence, I think I know where you're going with that. And people of interest, like, can you break that down just a little bit more for me? So I know exactly where you're going, please, if you could. JB, big kudos. Someone else finally saw it good because no one mentions it. I sent it to Brew Crew weeks ago. Melissa, when, why were LE did ye ever have to interrogate anyone? When and why were law enforcement did ye ever have to interrogate anyone? I don't know. I just know that when I say interrogate, and I'm not sure I follow that whole clearly, but when I say interrogate, I mean they need to ask these questions and ask these questions very sternly, and they got to get to the point. Okay, that's when I say like they have to literally interrogate him. I don't mean like beat the hell out of him. I'm not saying to hurt him. I'm saying they need to really literally get down to business and be serious and ask some serious questions. That's what I mean by that. But they just need to interview him. They need to interview him like it's the only chance they're going to get to interview him. I guess is the best way to put it. But thank you, Melissa. Appreciate you. JB, I think he is stalking Sleuth now. It does seem to me that he is. For whatever reasons, it seems like he is. I don't know if it's because he thinks he can get in good grace with him again. I don't know if it's because he has a fascination with him. I don't know that answer. But it does appear that there's a connection of some sort that he has with Sleuth. Melissa at JB, yes, I agree. Paige, try to use names and subjects to avoid confusion in your comments, please, everyone. JB, channel was Phoenix 10. Thank you so much. I'll look that up, JB. Lisa Page, we are all learning together here. Stormcrow, could R be made up by Sleuth? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think so. I think Sleuth has shown to be someone who literally loves what he does, and I think that after the first time when he spoke to Richard, you could see the genuine. He was totally caught off guard. You could see his mannerisms change in Sleuth, where I mean he's always been quiet, but he was becoming more of a listener, absorbing what everything he was letting Richard just have the platform. And it was working because Richard was just divulging and divulging and divulging. And then on the second interview, he asked a little bit more questions, but he let him talk more until he came down from that lake and saw what he thought he saw was Richard at the bottom of the hill. See, Sleuth was supposed to go the day later, but he went the day before. He said he was going to go up to the lake and check the lake. He said he was going to just surprise everybody, let everybody know, that, hey, I already did this. But the reality is that he didn't. He went the day before. Only that when he got done and was coming down the hill, he saw this person parked in a truck with a camper, and he made contact with this person's eyes. Now, this person wasn't looking at him, but he was looking at him, and he said he was shook. It shook him because it looked just like Richard. Kim, YouTube blocks me. I wonder who of these were connected the shadiest. Pink Club besides Kiki, right? Very interesting there. No doubt about it there, Kim. I'm just saying anything's possible. That is true. And Rex Schumerman's wife didn't believe he did it until he confessed. That is very true. Marion, retracted. JLR, money is tempting. Stormcrow. Yes, yes. Lisa Page, 100% Storm. Stormcrow, people do crazy things for money. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. No doubt about it. Lisa, never know Storm money talks. Stormcrow, 4 clicks. Melissa, yes, Lisa. Oh my God, Storm, possibly yes. Luke looks good for a suspect when you put it all together. Very true, Gronsky. Stormcrow, could R be made up by Sleuth? Yeah, I don't think so. Now I'm going to go back down to where I left off. Fall says that is a scary possibility. No doubt. Melissa, when you were LE, I'm waiting for that finish of that ever, Melissa. Tell me. Did I ever what? Lisa, people can do deceitful, devious, insane things. No doubt. I added the things. Lisa, not Sleuth, in my opinion, but I don't trust anyone. I don't blame you. Matthew, loving this channel in the chat. Communication well. Thank you so much, Matthew. I appreciate you. Just got a lot of good people in here. Knowing you were LE, did you ever have to interrogate anyone? I was trying to ask you. Yes. Yes. Many times. Interrogate is, everybody always misconstrues interrogate as in like, like you would hear, the Al Qaeda thing where they were waterboarding people. No, I'm not talking about that, but, I get what you're saying. Yes. Many times. Many times. Interrogations in the interrogation room, just having a conversation, trying to pick apart what they're saying. Did many translations for just about most of the places that I worked at because they didn't have anybody that was bilingual. Yes, yes, I did. And I loved it. It was great. Melissa, Sleuth, the real deal. I've been watching him for years. I like Sleuth. I think he's a very honorable person, in my opinion. Thank you very much, Melissa. Sweet Pea. Example, vehicle calls received from 911. Not bringing in suspicious people and truly interview them, not just, in my opinion, slap them on the hand. Totally agree with that, Sweet Pea. Now I follow what you're saying. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Totally agree with you. So you're right. You're right. Why wasn't a lot of these people brought in? Um, the fact of the matter is, there's a lot more that should have been done that wasn't done. And you're exactly right about that, Sweet Pea. You're exactly right about that. A lot should have been done at the scene. I'm not talking about the crime scene. I'm talking about these individuals when they stopped these people. There should have been a lot more information than just a bland, vanilla comment or statement. For sure, without a doubt. Call it inexperience. You got to remember, Pima County Sheriff's Office, they say they're like 2 to 4 years of experience on the average. That's not a lot. So, yeah, am I surprised? No. I have seen officers who come in who have made mistakes only because they're so new. They don't know any better. They never had that experience because they never walked that first path of dealing with something similar to something like they were dealing with. So I get it. But for a sheriff's department to be that young, it's not common. It's not common at all. At least everywhere I've worked at, it's not been common at all. Big kudos. I'm sure he's stalking all the streamers in some way. He probably is. He probably is. And you're right. I agree with you because he wants to know who is hitting it on the money, who is talking about him, who is saying what about him. No doubt about it. JB, I think the segment on Phoenix 10 was called Into the Night or Disappeared into the Night. I will definitely look that up. Phoenix 10. JB, thank you so much for that info. Gronsky, I am very impressed with SI and all the other live streamers. So am I, Gronsky. 110%. Stormcrow, phone book interrogation. Phone book interrogation. Oh, stop it. No, seriously, though, when I say interrogate, I just mean they have to take it serious. They have to ask the questions. They have to get to the meat of the matter quickly. And they have to ask the questions in a way where you're going to be able to read his deceiving eyes or his where his eyes shift, where what he looks up or down. Does he look in you in the eyes? Does he tell you the truth? And you can find out these things when you are in law enforcement because you take classes for these things to be able to know when someone's trying to deceive you. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm using as my ability to be able to do that, I guess, is for a better lack of words. A lot of cops are dirty, but some are good, Melissa. Yes, I don't think a lot of them are dirty. I think that there's a few that are. I think the reason it looks like a lot is because when the few that are do something heinous, media plasters it like they should, they plaster it big time. And it makes it look like, oh my God, can you believe these officers did this? Or this officer did that, right? So you really, it's like it's an attention getter. But truth be told, for all the cops in the United States, they're not bad. They wouldn't be doing that job if they didn't care about that job. Yes, some of them do it because it pays okay. Not many, but some of them. And a lot of them do it because they love the job. They love the public service, And then there's some bad apples that, they're gonna do things because they want to, and that's just their MO. But I understand what you're saying, Melissa, wholeheartedly. Sweet pea, rookies, no doubt. Lisa, streamers are keeping Nancy's case alive. I would like to think so, but I tell you, sometimes it gets very frustrating when you just don't have nothing coming in. Taking a lot of precious time away from their families and lives. Yes, falls. Good night, everyone. I'm headed to the late dinner Mexican food. Oh, that sounds good. And a margarita or two or three. I need it after all this, laughing out loud. Have a good one. Be safe and drive safe, Falls. We'll see you tomorrow. Paige, risking their personal safety even. Absolutely. God knows I put my ass on the line many times. Many, many times. Kudos. When someone tells you or shows you who they are, believe them. Absolutely. Absolutely. Maya Angelou. When someone tells you who they are, you believe them because they're telling you who they are. And that's what I'm seeing here in RN's case. Matthew, agree 100, Lisa. Lisa, GN Cusel Falls, I mean. Stormcrow. If you guys like the live, please subscribe. This is what helps everybody become more smarter is hearing everybody's thinking and questions and the honesty and trying to get to like why someone would think what they think or say what they say. But this makes everybody smarter. This channel is all about common sense, everybody. Okay, I'm giving you a little twist because I'm adding my personal experience in law enforcement, but this is all about common sense. Okay, that's what this is about. So anybody can figure this out if you have common sense. JB, I took pics of his texts in case he deleted them. I had wanted law enforcement to see them because it gave me chills reading it. No doubt. Totally agree with you 110%. Paige, no doubt, kudos. Stormcrow, you're good, DD. Thank you so much, Stormcrow. I appreciate you. And thank you for being here. I really do appreciate that. And thank you for all your questions and your comments. JB, so if you need, I can send the pics to you. Lisa, can you put my email? Give him my email. Can you post it on there? By any chance? So JB can have my email if he wants to send pictures or questions or whatever. Nancy. Kim, do you think Pima LE has brainstormed like we are? Honestly, no, not really. I mean, I'm not trying to say that they don't do a good job. I'm just saying not really because a lot of things haven't happened that I thought should have happened already, in my opinion, in all honesty. So, but you know what? Do I think that they're trying? Yes. Do I think that they want to fail? No. Why? Because it makes them look bad as a department. As a sheriff's department, it makes them look bad. They don't want to fail. They want to do well. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to let this case falter under their watch. You know what I mean? So, no, I think they're doing everything they can to what they know, but I don't think they're giving anything out. But that's not the fault of the deputies. That's more of a Nano's decision because he's the sheriff and everything runs through the sheriff how he wants to run it. If that makes any sense. I love this chatting channel. Thank you, Paige. Sweet Pea, a lot do the job for prestige, not for the people, respect or honor. I can see a lot of it do it for the prestige. I agree. But everybody I ever worked with, most of them did it because they loved the job. They loved the everyday change. Something always new was happening, you know. But that's the people that I knew. That doesn't mean that's everybody or that's less than. Nosy Rosie, breaking news. Shots fired at the White House correspondent dinner. Oh, no. I'm going to have to look at that. Corresponding dinner, shots fired. All right, everybody. I'm going to end this live pretty quick. Song. In my heart, good to see you, Song. Glad you're here. Be back tomorrow. Storm Chaser, Nosy Rosie, Lisa Page, yes, dog. Thank you so much. There it is. Oh, JB, Lisa just posted the email. Thank you so much. There it is under Lisa Page's. That if you need to send me pictures or anything, you know, there's the email address for anybody who wants to go ahead and take it down. Lisa just posted it. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that.
Hey there. We're actually outside. I'm going to take the phone here real fast. We're here outside of the Washington Hilton here right now, and they're pushing everybody back. Even just inside.
Yep, there was just fired. I'm watching it now. It's on there. Shots fired at the White House correspondent dinner. Cops are all around there. Interesting. Trump was rushed from White House correspondent dinner after witnesses report shots fired. Interesting. Thank you for that update. I appreciate that. This is some live time, real time. If only they had a secure ballroom, Nosy Rosie, no doubt. JB, thank you, Lisa Page. Lisa, again, there's the email. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate you. You're welcome, JB. Matthew, great live. We'll be coming back to watch. Thank you so much, Matthew. I appreciate you. And thank you for all your questions and all your input. Believe me, it makes everybody smarter. Good night and thank you. We'll send. Thank you, dog, and everyone. Goodbye for now. Later, everybody. Good night. Blessings. You too, Sweet Pea. Thank you. Kimberly, good night. Thank you for your service. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I appreciate it. My honor to serve. Lisa, oh my God. Yep, here we go. So I'm going to break away now. God bless you all. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for all your inputs. And know this live is all about common sense. It's all about common sense. With that, God bless you all. Have a good